from the Washboard Resonators. It's guitar story number 17. It's a 1936 Trojan. This guitar has a great history going back to the 1960s in Glasgow, Scotland. It sounds incredible. I'd love to share all that with you now. So first of all, what is this guitar? It's a National Trojan. A Trojan was the cheapest guitar that National made. Here's a 1935 Trojan. You should see some differences. The first kind of Trojan was made when National didn't have their own woodworking facility. They bought the necks and the bodies from Harmony. They're just like glue-in necks that work on a dovetail basis. And a lot of people see these guitars as being very junky. I personally think that these are fantastic. They have a great sound. Now, all other National guitars have what's called a neck stick, where the neck has like a stick that attaches to the bottom, and that draws the body and seems to help with the projection of the sound and the fidelity of the sound. Well, by 36, National now had a factory in Chicago in the same building as Dobro, and we believe now that the Dobro woodworking people were also building these bodies in-house. And they put the neck stick in like any other National. So really what you're getting here is a guitar that has all the quality of any other National and the same build type, except, you know, with the cheaper laminate woods, cheaper neck, to still keep it on the bottom of the line. Doesn't mean that this is not a fantastic sounding and playing guitar. So what is the story? Well, this guitar came out of the internet on one night here in my living room back in June of this year. It's November 2023 as I film this. I got a message one night on the Washboard Resonators Facebook, as we often do, Instagram, Facebook, the website, people asking advice on resonators. They've seen this YouTube channel and then they find ways to ask us questions. And basically a lady called Shelley got in touch to say, I've got this guitar, it says National on it, it doesn't look like anything I've seen online, I don't think it's a real National, can you help me identify it? And I said, yeah, it's clearly a 36, 37, 38 National Trojan. Really cool guitar. Now, ordinarily, when cool old original Nationals come up and people present them to me to ask what it is, it's always in America. Every time. So I didn't really think anything of it, but through the conversation, it kind of occurred to me, I think this person's in Britain. So I asked. She said, yeah, I'm in Carlisle. And I said, that's funny. Tomorrow night, I'm playing in Ambleside, in the Lake District, at this lovely little restaurant that does like jazz gigs. I said, that's probably about an hour away. She said, well, I'll bring it for you to have a look at. The next night, I roll into the venue, and this is sat on a chair with Shelley waiting. So I have a look over it, and from what I can tell, the guitar's all original. The cover plate was bashed in. It was covered in like white paint spots where somebody must have been painting a room in the same room as it. No case. The neck was really bent. It had the real big bend on it. The frets were all chewed up. And it had some really terrible, like cheap 70s classical guitar tuners on it. So at the time, I was actively searching for two wood body resonators because the guitars I use on stage with the Washboard Resonators, the National Resophonics, they're really heavy, as brass guitars are. And I'm getting a bad bat, you know, a wood body is much lighter. So I wanted to sort of find some wood body guitars. So I was looking for basically one of these. So in the end, Shelley said, like, you know, I was looking at it and just smiling and saying it's cool. Shelley said, you love this? I said, yeah. And she said, you know, in her kind of world, there's a word for it, which is kismet, a Jewish word, which means like it's meant to be. Shelley, it would be kismet if you were to have this guitar. And I said, oh, look, I really shouldn't be buying guitars at the moment. But I was like, I do want a wood body and it would help me with my work. So we came to a price where she got far more money than she ever thought it was worth. And I got a good price, which allowed me the wiggle room to get the work done on it, which I'll explain shortly. So the story of the guitar is that Shelley had been gifted this guitar. Her stepdad, Harry, had just gone, I think, into like a care home with dementia. I think he was 95 at the time, she said. And he'd had this guitar certainly since the 60s, and you couldn't talk to him now to ask him when and where he bought it, but it's the 60s, probably earlier, probably into the 50s. Shelley remembered learning a few chords on this back in the 70s when she was a young lady. So I was just like, this is really cool. This is the Harry with a cool story in it. And she sent me a picture later on. So I bought the guitar, and she sent me a picture the next day of Harry, handsome, dashing chap who owned this guitar all that time. And I just felt like I'd been given a really important thing to look after. So I took it to Steve Evans, who has Beltona instruments. He's made guitars for Clapton and Knopfler and all that kind of stuff. And he did a whole rebuild. He managed to straighten the neck, take the fretboard off, carbon fibre rods, plane it, refret it, reset, take the neck out, reset it because it was all out of whack, took all the dents out, cleaned it beautifully, got all the paint off it, put some replica tuners on, to make it ready for me to see if I want to turn this into a gigging guitar. Now, unfortunately, I get pain here, especially in cold weather, which is probably a sign that, of like early arthritis and mobility problems. This guitar has quite a deep V neck on it. And what I find, especially when I use a capo on this guitar, it kind of hurts sometimes to sort of make certain shapes. The neck's quite thin, but quite wide in terms of depth. And I just think when I'm doing 3, 4, 5, 6 gigs a week, even though the guitar's lighter and really cool and sounds amazing, I don't think I'll be able to get on with it. So the night I got this, I said to Shelley, I've got a friend who literally wants one of these as well because his mate's got exactly one of these, a 39. In fact, we did a video about comparing the two kinds of guitars, the early Trojan to the later Trojan. I'll put it in the links below. But I said, my friend Rich wants one of these. Well, I took this down to Rich's the other week. And I took down a dobro, and expecting Rich to take this away because he wants one of these and he wanted a wood body. And he played the dobro and just fell in love with it, which neither of us expected. At the same time, somebody else got in touch and said, man, that Trojan looks really special and I love it. And I was like, oh, I've got a house move coming up. And, I was going to keep it anyway because it's really beautiful. I love the story. But the person who it's going to, he's a cool guy who loves these things. He doesn't buy and sell and trade stuff out. He buys stuff and he keeps it and he looks after it. So I said, yeah, you know what? I think if you have it, that's the right thing. And, give me first refusal if you don't want it at any point. By the way, do like and subscribe and comment. It really helps the channel go big. You can go into the description and find links to various things. The mailing list is best. So let's talk sounds now. Wood body nationals can be quite warm. Since Steve did the work on this guitar, it plays amazingly. I really, wish the neck was a bit more comfortable. I've even considered having the neck reshaped so I could keep it, but that would destroy all these beautiful capo marks on the back. So we're not going to do that. It's a really warm guitar. It's a really present guitar. If you want to hear what this guitar sounds like compared to others, check out the video of me and Rich in his kitchen. You'll hear this guitar has a lot of bass and a lot of really well-defined top end. It's a really nice sounding guitar. Like the wood body really works for finger picking. You get a nice bass response. Like bass things work really well on this guitar. The top end's never gets too sizzly. So I love it for finger picking. Slide, it's really nice as well. So tell us what you think about the sound of this guitar. I think it's pretty monstrous. I also think, if I'm honest, as we bring this to a close, I think I'm going to sort of miss this in so many ways. But I have a Trojan. That's got the pickup in for live gigging. I got on better with the other Trojan that I've got in terms of the neck feel. So for now, I think it makes sense. Also, I've got about 35 guitars, and the new place I'm going to is going to need a lot of work on it. So I'm not going to have much house space to store as much stuff. So at the moment, I'm trying to clear out a lot of stuff to make my forthcoming move easier. So I've told the person buying this, give me first refusal. But it's a great guitar, and in honour of Shelley and Harry, I think, you know, through this video, that memory will last, and the serial number will always be in the description, so if future generations will find this guitar and know, at least for a good portion of its life, where it was and how it came to be. So thank you, everybody. My name's Martyn. The band is the Washboard Resonators. We do a lot of gigs. Joining the mailing list through the description helps. Liking, subscribing, commenting really helps as well. But yeah, one for the guitar geeks and one for the people that love the history of these beautiful old guitars.